Stage actor, an African-American icon, 6 BBC productions, so many nominations, but if you need a shiny, sunny day, there's nobody better to call than Storm. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Alyson Court George Buza. With looks like Brando, you might wonder why he didn't also become an obese fat pig. That would be because he was filming Kung Fu and then running over, skipping lunch to record X-Men the Animated Series. Then he continued and decided to be a director as well as an actor on a hit series called Heartland. It's run 18 seasons now. That's why you can only see him in the fall and in the very beginning of the year. He's stomping onto the stage, Chris Potter, Gambit Cable. We love him. Respect and dignity to allow me to finish their intro, which I appreciate. On top of being involved in The Good Witch, which Mr. Chris Potter was on for many years before they killed him for entering too early on stage, he co-starred with the legendary Jean Grey, Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, also Jill Valentine in Resident Evil. We've seen a lot of Resident Evil love here. You can't beat her. She was also in Roly Poly Oly. I didn't see that, but I hear it's great. Catherine Disher, come to the stage. God bless you, Catherine Disher. Has generated millions and millions of dollars for various corporations. She started very young, which means she got the worst contracts in the business. And yet, she is the most giving, caring, nice person you can meet. Persevering, still doing the best work you can imagine. She's directed on Blue's Clues, she's directed on Care Bears, she just directed George Buza in something new, Alyson Smith in something new. She gives with all her heart. She dresses to impress. Claire Redfield, Jubilee, the big comfy couches looming at the crowd, Alyson Court coming to stage with this beautiful song. I am in a good mood. He's known as a scientist, this is why he messes with THC within his body for an internal composition discovery from time to time. He's ridden a motorcycle. He's worn a diaper on a series. He's played a cop on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's been a sailor in Sinbad, carrying a sword around that only Ryan Gosling could bear to carry himself. Very true. He's smiling right now backstage. He's got a cane, which very well may be across my head in a few moments. Please welcome George Buza Beast from X-Men. When you think about recasting 2 roles, you think, yeah, good luck. That would be Cyclops and Magneto. Those 2 roles were indelibly played by David Himblum and Norm Spencer to perfection. And yet, not only can he sound so similar, but he brings an incredible tact and gravitas and emotion while being fearsome. David Himblum, very fearsome. Matthew Watterson brings the emotion. He's also done all sorts of amazing video game roles. When you stop by his table, you'll look and say, oh, blank word, because there might be kids here. You did that? Well, he did. And I also found out this week he's doing NFL announcements. So Alyson Court and I were watching the Bills game, and here comes this studly British voice that makes Patrick Stewart quiver. Let's bring to the stage the woodsman, muscles of steel. He could play the Man of Steel, but he is Magneto, the master of magnetism, Matthew Watterson. Accolade. First African-American storyboard artist, first African-American hired by Mr. Stan Lee. He worked on Spider-Man and Friends, he worked on Care Bears, he worked on Captain Planet. He did a special print for Cincinnati with your acclaimed fountain from downtown here this weekend, just for you guys. No one is more responsible for the success for X-Men than Mr. Larry Houston. And while there was a team of writers and other producers and great things, he added so many scenes from his mind to the page. He did the opening titles, which you all love from the first show. They're in the new show. Over a weekend. Yeah, that's right, a weekend. Because I guess he likes to ignore his wife. We worked all weekend to do those amazing opening titles we all know and love. Larry, come to the stage. Mr. Larry Houston, everybody, come on. And now, it seems like we're going to be sharing a mic. So first of all, let's have a complaint. I want to have a complaint with X-Men 97. Larry Houston had Rogue and Storm flying around, chit-chatting up there at 16,000 feet. They don't want to get hit by a plane. Rogue would be okay, but Storm, we don't need a one-armed Storm. So they avoided that height. But they were best friends. We didn't see a lot of that in X-Men 97. As an artist,
I think I'm always insecure about everything I do as a performer, and I think I might have crossed that point in my life eventually, where but my early years, yeah, everything I did. So I think Alyson touched on it last song we did together, Alyson Court, about how producers and directors behind the glass in the studio used to gesticulate and talk to each other between our takes, and that I finally realized that she and I both interpreted that as they were talking about us, and they didn't like it. And so that started the wave. They could have been talking about what they were ordering for lunch, for all I know, but to me it transferred as
Oh yeah.
take
Oh,
over.
they weren't talking that much.
Stars and garters. Because I related to him personally. This is the story I tell practically at every con. I got bullied as a kid. I was fat, and eventually I got tired of being bullied, and I fought back and realized that I could do some damage. But I always tried to avoid confrontation and violence at all costs, so that when it came around to playing Beast, it was a very easy transition from my personal life to the character. But at the same time that I was doing that, I was playing a 4-year-old mutant kid on a TV series called Maniac Mansion. And Joe Flaherty was our dad, and all the people from SCTV were the head writers. And so I was dressed as a 4-year-old kid with a page boy haircut, and I'd hop on my motorcycle and ride from the studio, which was about 1.5 miles away from where we recorded X-Men, record a session of X-Men, and go back to filming Maniac Mansion, where I talk like, Mom, Dad. In a falsetto voice.
The old legacy kind of.
The strangest part is that I'm 45 years old. I am not a child. I have been a grown-ass man for longer than I was a kid. And so but every time I'm at a convention, it's like, well, you're fine, you're a kid. I'm like, my back hurts. My ankle's screwed up. I blew out a knee. I'm like, I'm not young. I've been beaten up. But it's you're the young one. You can do this and that. But the funny thing is, I knew a couple of the new cast before the show. I knew AJ, I knew JP, but most of us met for the first time at the premiere, because we record solo now. And so, Ray, who plays Cyclops, it turns out Ray lives 4 minutes from me, because we both live an hour and a half north of Los Angeles. We don't live in LA. And we were recording for 2.5 years, and it wasn't until the premiere when somebody sent a message out and they said, hey, are you driving down from Ojai? And I said, yes. And Ray went, wait, what? And I said, well, I live there. He said, well, so do I. And we'd both been recording from home, 5 minutes from each other, and no one in production had said, by the way, Ray and you live right next to each other. You can say hi.
I guess I'm the old guy of the group, because I started reading comic books when I was in the 60s, and I've always been an X-Men fan and comic book fan, and so when I got the chance to head up and direct the X-Men, it was like a hand in the glove, came right together. And so I knew everything about the X-Men, because I had been reading it for so long. So I knew exactly how these characters should work together. And And being a fanboy, I tried to make sure the show was something that you guys would enjoy, because I just poured my fanboy part into the shows, and I had been a director for about 12 years before I got the show, so it all came together. And so yeah, I knew the show, and yeah, I'm the old guy of the group, but I'm happy for it, it's fine. You know?
Well, I think when you're born with a voice like this, you kind of got to figure out what you're going to do with it. And I've been lucky enough that I've still gotten to play a range of roles. I mean, I remember, I don't know if it's Monster by mistake, or if there's another one, but I loved playing this 8-year-old boy, Cleon. And so, yeah, it's a versatile voice, but I do manage to do authority pretty well. So when I went into the audition and for X-Men the first time around back in the 90s, I was out in Stratford, and this is one of the largest theaters in Canada, and I'm doing Shakespeare, and I'm feeling like, okay, I'm there now. I'm at the top of my game. I'm out in Stratford, and my agent calls and she wants me to go and audition for this cartoon, and I'm like, no! Because at this point, all I know about cartoons is, you know, hey, boo. So if it's not Yogi Bear, I don't know anything about it. So I go in there, and, you know, they give us the little thing and the little description, and there's nothing in this description that I can pull anything from. I don't know. And you know, I've driven in from Stratford to do this audition. I just want to get back out there. They're telling me stuff about mutants, and she's from North Africa. There's all these actresses in the room. I mean, there must have been at least 10 or 12 women in the room on their second, third, and fourth callback for these auditions. And they're from every corner of the African continent. So, for 2 reasons: one, respect, and 2, because it's obvious that, you know, at this point you're not talking about the authenticity of any kind of African accent. I'm not going to go in there and try to out-African the Africans.
On that, so it was a tape, and he would be getting those late night tapes, and he was actually in making edits at the late in the game in LA, working for Fox. So he was so sick of my voice. Like he was really sick of my voice, and I get it. I'm sick of my voice too. I've been this many years, like yeah. So yeah, he just did not want to listen to me again. So I was not hired for Jubilee. And then whoever they hired, you guys.
Larry said no.
It didn't work, so they convinced, it was probably Dan Hennessy that said, bring in Al. So I came in, and then it was every single time I opened my mouth. And Sydney was like, no, it sounds like we're going to do it again. So yeah, back to how Chris was feeling about the whole job insecurity. And I don't know how long I'm going to be here with you guys. But it also worked on many levels. One, it was great because he was right. I had been playing Lydia for so long that I was living in that voice. So it forced me out of the up here kind of nasal cavity thing that I would do for Lydia, and a little bit more down here, a little bit more angsty teen. So it was great as a voice actor. And I guess it kind of played into the character of Jubilee, who didn't know what was going on and had a lot of insecurity in her life, and was relying on the family around her to make her feel like it was okay. And that's what these guys did. Hanging out in the lunchroom with these guys during recordings was sort of the saving grace of it all for that first season.
Center of the X-Men. And I know that's a very dramatic scene. The Blackbird's going down, and she's crawling her way to the front.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a great scene. And Larry, every time I do a panel with Larry, I learn new stuff about the show. And Larry had said, a couple of panels ago, he said you wanted to do the Phoenix Saga, you knew it would take 9 episodes, and you wanted to do it right, which no one has since, frankly.
No. Let's give a round of applause.
Yeah. My favorite moment is when she's flying up to the sun with the crystal,
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, she's Phoenix, but she's Jean, she thinks she's gonna die. And all she can talk about is the beauty that she sees around her. And she says, you know, she kind of gasps and goes, oh, the light, it's so beautiful. Oh, Scott, I wish you could see it. And that was always my favorite line, and it just sent Jean to me. What is your favorite moment of the Phoenix Saga?
Of that saga, one of the moments I thought that I added that wasn't in the script was like when you and Scott kiss because she's getting ready to go into the sun, and you guys float up, and you guys are floating around with the kiss, and then she leaves them like that to take off, becoming the Phoenix bird. None of that was in the script. I added that because I thought that was a good place for a nice romantic moment for them flying around. You know, I did a lot of that. Adding stuff to the show.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's why Larry. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to us. I think we're actually going to get a photo op script, and we're going to be back at the table today. God bless you. Thank you guys for driving up here.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.